A very good morning to everyone. My name is Anand Gupta, and I, on behalf of the Alumni Committee of IIM Lucknow and the entire IML community, welcome everyone to the inaugural season of Netritva, the leadership talk series with our alumni leaders in spotlight. It is my utmost pleasure and honor to welcome the first speaker of Netritva, Mr. Ashutosh Gupta, the country manager of LinkedIn India. Let me begin by briefly introducing our esteemed speaker. Mr. Ashutosh Gupta is an alumnus of IIM Lucknow's batch of 2000. He has been associated with marquee firms such as Infosys, Cognizant, and Google in the past. He joined LinkedIn in 2013 to lead LinkedIn's marketing solutions in India. In 2016, he moved to Singapore to build LinkedIn's marketing solutions, an online sales organization, OSO, for the Asia Pacific and China region. For his work as director, he was awarded a 2016 Director of the Year award, APAC and China by LinkedIn itself. And in 2019, he was appointed as the country manager for LinkedIn India. A very warm welcome to you, sir. And it is our utmost pleasure and honor to have you at our event.
Thank you, Anand. Thanks for the kind introduction and good to be connected back with IIM Lucknow. And I'm happy that we are kickstarting this series, Netritva, if I'm saying that right.
Yes, sir.
But glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, sir, before we start, I would just like to briefly touch upon the flow of the conversation today. So,
Mhm.
first, we're going to start with knowing your experience at IIM Lucknow, and then move on to your first job and your career journey till LinkedIn. And then, obviously, we have a lot of questions specifically for your tenure at LinkedIn. So, that's how we
Sure.
are going to roll. Let's get started, sir, then.
Let's
Uh,
do it.
yes. So, Ashutosh, my first question is around your time at IIM Lucknow. uh, Ashutosh, what would be your key learnings and takeaways from your time at IIM Lucknow?
So, IIM Lucknow was an important milestone in the career. But I would say when I think about learnings, there are two parts to it, right? So, of course, the hard skills, fantastic professors, really great professors teaching us good management skills and imparting the knowledge. So that was definitely a big part of the learning. But today I would focus on the second part, which was the softer skills, right? So one thing which stands out is the kind of network we built in IIM Lucknow. And at that time, social media wasn't there, right? So we connected well within the batch, and our batch size was 180, and with our seniors, and then with our junior batch. So that's roughly 540 people, give or take. And that's the network which is very, very strong. So that's one thing which has stayed with me. And I think we at LinkedIn, we talk a lot about the strength of your network. And my network is very strong because of my association with IIM Lucknow. In the future batches, some of my batchmates have gone to very senior positions. So that network strength was really something which stands out for me when on those 2 years at IIM Lucknow. And then secondly, because of the batch sizes, we connected a lot, we networked a lot, even when I was at the campus. So the softer skills like communication, collaboration, all of them, like it's hindsight, obviously. I didn't go to IIM Lucknow saying, okay, I'm going to learn collaboration, but it's all hindsight at the end of it. But that stayed on very, very strongly with me as well for last couple of years.
Definitely, sir. I think the power of network is much more emphasized in these current times when everyone are wanting to leverage their network. And like you mentioned, collaboration is a very important skill, definitely a soft skill that everyone should imbibe as they progress up the ladder. Thank you, sir. So,
Yeah.
moving on, we also have a question around your career journey. So, if you could just take us through your career journey and tell us about the important decisions which you took while transitioning between the firms.
So when I passed out from campus, I wanted to be in investment banking, and at that time in 2000 was a remarkable difference from where we are. Your campus placements right now, there were only two investment banks which used to come to the campus, and I was lucky enough to get into one of them, which is ICICI Securities. But that's a big thing. Which like within 6 months, I left ICICI Securities, and you know I had a lot of, kind of discussions with my batchmates, my close friends from IIM Lucknow, and people were like, why are you doing it? But big thing was I was not feeling for it. I was not enjoying what I was doing. And like there definitely was a disconnect between what I wanted and what the job offered, right? So I think it was a little difficult because I worked very hard to get there. And then I said, like, I'm in 6 months, I am done. So I left ICICI Securities. I jumped into the technology bandwagon and I joined Infosys. And so I went to Bangalore and worked with Infosys, which was very interesting. I think a lot of my thinking of as a leader or as a professional was shaped at Infosys because I joined strategic planning at Infosys, which was a small group, 6 people, all from business schools, and they would like a team which would work with the top management, and they would work on projects given by the top management. So as a team, we used to report to Nandan Nilekarni through our manager, and it was an awesome kind of experience to be connected, to be with the Infosys founders, and just being able to connect with them and talk to them. So, for example, I used to run a meeting as an analyst. I didn't lead the meeting, but as an analyst, I would sit in the boardroom with all the Infosys founders, and it was called internal risk meeting. So, Narayan Moti, Chris, Dinesh, Panish. It was an awesome experience for a 25-year-old to hear how people think from the top, right? So Infosys was a game changer for me in 2000 when I joined them. And then from there, I went to US with Infosys because I did only strategic planning for 2 years. I wanted more experience on the field. You can't do strategy unless you know how the company works, how the things work on the field. So I went as an account manager in Bank of America account and spent, I think, 4 years with the Infosys in US, and then jumped over to Cognizant. So I think last decade was, when I say last decade, is 2000 to 2010, was primarily in US, primarily working in IT services, doing different kind of sales roles. So from account manager, I became a client partner and then went to Cognizant, which was again a fantastic run with Cognizant. I shifted to New York and worked with Wall Street firms. I was handling a couple of their large Wall Street accounts like Credit Suisse, Lehman Brothers till it lasted, or Merrill Lynch. So I think, again, Wall Street teaches you so much, the speed of execution, and they're very clear on what they want, and they work very hard. So you have to work equally very hard when you're working with them. So, but in 2010, we decided to come back to India, me and my wife, and that was another kind of pivotal moment in my career. I came back to India and I realized that what I do as a salesperson in IT services, one, I don't think so it had such a bright future in India at that point in time. And two, I was also thinking that I've done 10 years of IT services, now what next? So I decided to transition over or jump over to digital, and I joined Google in 2011. So that was a very important pivot. It took me like 8 months to make that pivot. I didn't know digital. I didn't know anybody in Google. Google used to get 1 million resumes when I joined. So how do you make an impact when there are other people and you don't even have the right experience on the resume at least? But I was able to get into Google, and that was 2010 to 2020 was all about digital, right? So I 2 years with Google, then LinkedIn called me, and so when I joined Google, I took a lateral jump. In fact, I went one level down from where I was in Cognizant, and then when LinkedIn called me in 2013, they were offering me uh, opportunity to lead their line of business in India. And I was very keen to go back to the leadership table. So I joined as the head of a line of business in India. It's called LinkedIn Marketing Solutions. And then 3 years, I was doing that in India. And then 2016, I got a brilliant opportunity to go to Singapore and start a new line of business for LinkedIn, online sales organization, and which was again Pan APAC plus China. And it was a fantastic experience to work with diverse teams from different cultures, Australia, India, Singapore, China, Hong Kong. So we went there as a family in 2016 and came back in 2019 to India. I still do that role. I'm still the head of online sales along with my role as a country manager. So 2019, again, an awesome opportunity to come back and lead and be part of the country leadership in India and lead that. So last 18 months now have been as a country manager. Of course, a lot of that has been with the COVID pandemic around, but that's also been an interesting experience. So that's roughly my 21 years of career journey.
Definitely, sir. I think the biggest takeaway is follow your passion and the kind of high quality experiences that you were part of working with Infosys founders, working for Wall Street firms, and obviously leading the online sales organization for LinkedIn in Singapore. Definitely, they would have shaped you and helped you along the way. So, thank you for that, sir. Now, sir, talking about LinkedIn, we want to zero down specifically to your tenure at LinkedIn. So, you spent over 7 years here. And so, according to you, what have been those defining moments for you, and how has the company itself changed over time during your tenure?
Yeah, I complete 8 years in July, which is not very far away. Obviously, the longest tenure in my 20-year career. So I think the company, it's an amazing experience to work for LinkedIn. One thing which has helped me to stay here for 8 years and which has been a defining moment, at least on my leadership journey, because I started with LinkedIn as heading a line of business and start a new business. Now I'm part of the country leadership, is their focus on culture. So, I mean, I haven't seen a company, and I worked for 4 or 5 companies, so I can't say the whole universe, but focus on culture and how they build culture, and they have we as a company, we are very clear that those cultural tenets are not a picture on a conference hall room, right? Usually people do that, like, so these are the 3 values principles of a culture, and then they hang in a conference room and we never talk about it. That's the difference I found at LinkedIn, that we have them very well, with a lot of clarity in the organization, what those cultural tenets and principles are, and those tenets and principles are used every day. So, and that's a focus which I haven't seen in other companies, and that's the reason for the success which LinkedIn is having. We have grown many times over, both in revenue and number of employees. We have been acquired by Microsoft, but the company still is very focused and very, very strong on the cultural tenets, right? So I think that's a standout thing at LinkedIn, and it's something which every year, like when you do a 3-4 years in a company, you every year say, okay, should I do something different? And every time I try and think about it, it makes me nervous, because this culture, it's a very, very it's an amazing environment. Even in pandemic, I'm still working from home, but the amount of care about my mental well-being, my physical health and well-being, my employees, my teams, like, it's just phenomenal. So I think that's number one standout from our LinkedIn perspective. As part of that culture, which I was talking about, there's a cultural tenet which is called transformation. So we as a company, we invest in people so that they transform uh, within company, or we set them up so that they can transform when they leave LinkedIn. Right? So so I have gone through 3 transformation myself. Right, so I joined as a head of LMS, then I started OSO, which was a net new role, and then I've come back to India, and now I'm leading LinkedIn India. So so that's again an example of what I said earlier, to stay true to the culture. And I myself have gone through such transformation, and my job as a manager, as a leader, as a head of country is to enable that for all my team members, right? So, we invest in developing those skills. We at LinkedIn, we talk a lot about individual development program, how you're thinking about your next step in your career. Very rarely a company talks about, okay, what do you want to do in your career, and let me help you get there, whether it's at LinkedIn or whether it's outside LinkedIn, right? So those are the things which are really kind of path breaking in way, and that's helped me to stay back with LinkedIn for 7-8 years. And I still, I like, it feels like, yeah, I have the same energy after 8 years. I don't think so anything has changed around me. So that's something very special about LinkedIn.
That's great to hear, sir. I think the culture is very enviable, and there's no doubt that LinkedIn has been ranked as the best workplace to work by many magazines, in fact, because of that culture. So that's great. Also, sir, obviously, we all have witnessed the pandemic, and many companies have changed their strategies around it. So, my question is somewhere based on that. Coming to LinkedIn again, how has LinkedIn adapted in the past year to the pandemic, and what were the major steps which were taken by LinkedIn itself? And if you could just narrow it down also to the critical set of choices which LinkedIn took, both short term and long term, in the COVID times.
So when in March the first came through, and it was happening globally. So Jeff, who was the CEO at that time, wrote down the principles, saying these are the three things, four things as a company we will focus on. And the first was employees' health and well-being. So he said all decisions have to be taken in the context of that, right? Like, you can't put business in front of this. First, employee health and well-being. So we in LinkedIn India, we closed offices 10 days before the Prime Minister announced the lockdown in India, right? Because we saw, hey, it's getting a little hairy. I want to make sure that my employees are health and their well-being is taken care of. So we shut down our offices. And since then, company has made sure that we continue to give all the right benefits, support to the employees as they work from home, so that they keep their health and well-being strong. Also, last 12 months have been stressful for us as professionals. So a lot of investment has come into the mental part of it, like physical health, but also the mental health. Right? You're staying at home, you can't really be roaming around freely. It impacts your mental health as well. So company has invested in that as well. So I think so that's number one. Number two, what choices if you think about, right? Like, and again, based on that principles, we continue to make those choices, right? Like now in India, it feels normal. It feels like, yeah, it's under control. But we have decided that till we see a sustained decrease over a period of time, wherever our offices are based, we will not open our offices. Now it's a conscious choice, right? So a lot of companies have opened their offices. Some of our clients are back in offices, but LinkedIn team continues to work from home, and they're very productive, right? It's not like the business, we are doing it at the expense of business. We continue to be more productive. In fact, we are more productive than we used to go to office. No commutes, no, so I think so that's a conscious choice by the company as well, so that we continue investing in our health and well-being. And number three, once we have done those two things, number three is how we think about business. And LinkedIn has also been innovating a lot, so that we come out with products which are helpful to the professional community while they are dealing with this new normal of which we are going through. So a bunch of examples. So we have come out with a frame. In LinkedIn, there's a picture you put up, and in that you can put frames, which is open to work. So you can tell the world that I'm looking for a next job, or I don't have a job. And that gives a very quick kind of focus if I'm browsing through the profiles and saying, okay, this person who has reached out or who has applied has the need currently. So open to work. So that's our innovation we made in the pandemic. Another example of the innovation is events. So we cater a lot to professional community. We cater a lot to B2B industry. And one of the big features of B2B industry was, events. You would get people in a large conference room, a large area, and then showcase your product and services. And now it's not possible, right? It's not advisable as well. So we have come up with online events where you can manage your B2B events, or your any event for that matter, by using LinkedIn data to create that event. And then, once you have that event, invite people to that event, post that event, and then post event continue to stay with the people. So I think innovations like this have really, we have thought what professionals now need in this new normal. So that's number three. And number four is the community. So, as company thought a lot about employees, next is now how can we solve for the community, right? So the community needs jobs. And we have moved on, like we are trying to tell people like jobs will come once you have the right skills. So helping community reskill themselves, and that's how we have come up with a partnership with Microsoft and GitHub, where we are made a lot of learning courses free so that you can get yourself reskilled and upskilled into the jobs or the skills which the jobs are demanding currently. So I can talk for hours because it's been amazing that to see how company has pivoted, how company has changed focus or made sure that we are doing the right things for both employees as well as our uh, client community or member community. So that's an example to your question of the kind of choices we are making, the kind of principles we are leading to the pandemic.
Sure, sir. I think it's very heartwarming to see how LinkedIn has placed the employees' well-being above everything else during this pandemic, and also the innovations, especially those who suffered job losses. I think they're able to use that to the best of their abilities. All the innovations which LinkedIn is providing, like you mentioned, open to work, online events, and the courses that you mentioned. So yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned networking. So, sir, coming to the professional networking industry, which is now an industry in itself and has boomed in the recent years, how do you think the online job searching and the online education industry would change in the coming years?
So on the job search, I think, as I said in the last answer as well, uh, we at LinkedIn, we believe that it's gonna be skill-based hiring from here onwards. So I think even the jobs which were before the pandemic, they're gonna pivot into some key skills. Every job needs a certain set of skills, right? In the past, you could show all the past experience in your resume and still say, I can get this job. But now the world is going to move towards you need to demonstrate those skills. So if whenever I decide to leave LinkedIn and whenever the day comes and I apply for a new job, I'll have to demonstrate my skills, right? Saying, okay, show us or tell us, how would you build a culture? How would you build a new organization with this company? And that's going to be true for all people, right? So programmers, for example, apply for a job. I've done the programming language skill. Okay. But now we are seeing their assessments, which are built into the hiring process. So you have to clear that assessment to qualify the job. And even in the job, you will have to show that coding skills. So I think skill-based hiring, even recruiters are, plugged into it. We went around and talked to the industry and they were like, yes, it has to be skill-based hiring. So I think that's where the future of hiring will lie, and learning will play a very key part in it. So if I don't have that skills today, we will go to learning or we will use online learning and leverage it to acquire those new skills. And we saw that happening last 12 months. LinkedIn Learning, we tracked the amount of hours people are leveraging LinkedIn Learning. They have shot through the roof. I don't even remember the number now, but like 300, 400% increase year on year, right? So people are already on to it saying, hey, I don't have the right skill. Let me acquire that skill and so that I can get that job. For professionals who are having a job, I think that online learning is also going to be critical. Like so let me give you a parallel. I have a lot of doctors in my family. Doctors, where even if they graduate and they start working, they always continue to learn because there are always developments happening in medical field and you need to stay close and current to it. Outside that, I don't think so all professionals view the learning the same fashion, right? So I've gone to IIM Lucknow, I'm done with it. No, it's not going to work, right? So you have to continue investing your time so that you stay current with this, with what's happening in your industry, with your skills. And so that's where learning will be a big part of our way forward going, right? So I think to your question, like skill-based hiring and online learning will be literally part of everyday life. I still invest X amount of hours every week. I work for a company which gives me that flexibility, but all companies will have to at some stage, or all professionals will have to invest that time. So those are the two big trends which I am seeing from all the data we collect at LinkedIn. But the world is going to change a little bit around us, and we have to make sure that we are changing ourselves along, so that we are both productive and successful in the new normal.
Sure, sir. I think upscaling is the new buzzword in the corporate jargon. And definitely, it's imperative for us to keep on learning to stay afloat in the job market and stay competitive. So, point noted, sir, definitely. Uh, Finally, sir, as we come to the last question, obviously, as an alumnus of IIM Lucknow, we would want your advice for the current batch of students who are going through this pandemic and studying at IIM Lucknow. So what are the key skill sets which you feel are relevant for the MBA students who are currently studying at Lucknow or any other MBA college, given that we are also still part of the pandemic?
I think all the current batches and the future batches will learn the hard skills. We have great faculty who will tell you, who will impart their knowledge, and you will get all of those hard skills. So, on the operation side, on the technology, on the investment finance side, or marketing, I think people really need to focus hard on their soft skills. So I think IIM Lucknow, or all the IIMs in a way, they have a very rich environment, and all of you learn those soft skills. But if you really want to be successful, you have to continue investing in those. So, I mean, of course, 20 years back, I didn't think that I had the best communication skills. I literally didn't know how to work with different cultures, right? So when I went to US, then I led a team in Asia, like all of that was part of the learning. So, I don't think so. I have stopped learning in 20 years, and every time, you pivot and do something new, you have to acquire new skill. So coming back to the students, right? So focus on your soft skills, focus on things which are going to make you successful when you go to corporate world. Communication, I can't tell you how important it is. And I'm not saying for I'm like, no, but I've seen people, I've uh, done interviews where people have all the right skills, but they can't express themselves. They can't tell you, how they will solve a problem, right? So those are the soft skills which are very, very important. And one other thing, the critical analysis skills, all jobs, once you graduate from IIM Lucknow, it's about solving problems. So, you have to keep your critical analysis skills very, very strong, and make sure that you are learning the new ways to solve those problems, right? In I'm Lucknow, some of those problems are tackled from a theoretical perspective. You get some practical examples of case studies as well. Once you join a job, these are all real problems, right? And people want real results and real outcomes. So I think if you keep your communication, collaboration skills strong, the soft skills, and then you keep working on your critical analysis skills, you all will do very well. So that's my advice. Make sure that you keep focus on few of those things, and then make sure that when do everything with passion. And that's another message. If last half an hour, what we have talked about, right? You have to be feeling for the job. There are a bunch of times in my career where I didn't feel for the job, and I was like, okay, it's done. Let's move on to something else. So those are the few messages. But you have done the hard work already by being at IIM Lucknow, and I'm sure all of you will be very successful. Just to stay on that continuous part of success, make sure that you find X number of hours every week to invest and learn new things, or keep you updated on the things which are happening around you.
Definitely, sir. I think the point that you mentioned, where we are definitely learning our hard skills, but soft skills is something where we need to invest more and gather that while we are at IIM Lucknow or any other MBA institute. I think it actually makes a lot of sense given the way the skills are being demanded by different employers. So, yes, point noted. Thank you, sir. And with this, we come to the conclusion of this wonderful conversation that we had. A very big thank you for sharing your valuable insights and sparing your valuable time to enlighten us with your thoughts and giving us your guidance through this conversation. I'm very sure that this particular interview is very fruitful for anyone who wants to learn about LinkedIn, or who is wants to know about the contribution of LinkedIn to the job in the education market. So thank you again, and we really hope to connect with you, sir, again very soon. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks for having me today, and I enjoyed the conversation. So I wish all the students at IIM Lucknow are very best, including yourself. So take care, everybody.